Welcome to What the Famicom, home of video game nonsense. Enjoy.
What the Famicom? What was the Famicom? What the Famicom? What was the Famicom?
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the What the Famicom podcast, the podcast for gaming nonsense bullshit, just really fucking important stuff that I hope you knew. And if you didn't know, I'm here to tell you about these what the fuck kind of things in gaming because they're more important than your review that you're writing for the next Mario game or Overwatch's next character, because in a year, nobody's going to be talking about those games. But we're going to be talking about these games I'm going to be discussing for years, for decades, for a millennium. And that's why I'm here to tell you why they're so important. Now, today's episode is the first, I guess you would call it, sequel episode. It's a companion piece. Companion, video game word, is a companion episode to a previous topic that we talked about, is the non-gaming in films. This is non-films in gaming. Now, I say that with a question because in non-gaming in films, we kind of looked at movies that had games or gaming in it that had fucking nothing to do with it. They inserted video game shit willy-nilly, and they thought we wouldn't know, and they ruined those fucking movies forever for me. And I wanted to talk about the other side of the coin, because I just didn't get it. First, you're going to give me these fucking movies with empty Game Boys. Now you're going to give me the other side of it. I demand it. Hollywood and video game industry, you better answer to me right now. So, oddly, the thing that sparked not my original conversation, but the one about this, was the recent release of Mortal Kombat 11. Now, if anyone knows, Mortal Kombat 11 just came out this past year, and Sonya Blade was voiced by none other than UFC fighter Ronda Rousey for some fucking reason. I don't fucking know. I remember reading about it, thinking it was a joke, and then it came out, and she was in it. She did mocap. I don't even think it was mocap. Probably just voicing. And why wouldn't you just fucking take the same voice actress from 10 or 9, or even the actress that played her in 1, 2, 3? Anybody? Why the fuck do you don't need a celebrity to sell motherfucking Mortal Kombat. It's Mortal Kombat. You don't need a celebrity to sell that game. Also, she sucks. She's a bad actress. I mean, that's besides the point, but it's also really fucking important because she was in Fast and Furious, and weirdly, this episode has a Fast and Furious connection. But you will see later, maybe sooner, maybe later, you'll just find out. But again, why? It's Mortal Kombat. There's reptile people. There's dudes with fucked up teeth. There's dudes that can never get a normal full-time job because they have 4 fucking arms and a ponytail and are rulers of a race of monsters that you don't want coming over in this realm. And you don't need a celebrity to sell it. So I wanted to look at games that did need a celebrity, that really needed to bank on that star to sell their game. Like, it's the fucking opposite. I wanted to look at not movies, it's the flip. I wanted to look at games that sort of wanted to try to be movies, so they banked on this one fucking person to sell the shit out of this game. And obviously, the examples I'm going to give, you're going to see, they're fucking pieces of shit. And even the people that are in are pieces of fucking shit. What kind of game would want to be, a wannabe movie? Now, celebrities in games, that's not fucking something new. In the early 90s, you had Moonwalker. You had 50 Cent was in fucking, I don't even know, 500 games about him being like a soldier. There was Shaq Fu. Kid and Play had a Sega CD game where you made music videos for them. Britney Spears had a fucking game that came out on the PS2, the Game Boy Advance, and the PC. One's enough, Britney Spears. Why do you have to be on all 3? I don't care how popular these games were or not popular. They needed that fucking celebrity. Imagine Moonwalker with just a guy who's never been slapped with a lawsuit about being a pedophile. Or a game called Rick Fu. It's just about a dude who's not a 10-foot tall idiot basketball player. If it seems like it's a bad idea to make a famous person the star of a game, you're probably right. because it was, and I'm gonna give you these examples to show how fucking confident some of these games were with their celebrities that tried to sell it. And they all turned out like dumpster fires. And you might own some of these games and be like, nah, dude, that was a class. It's a cult classic. Like, shut the fuck up. I'm gonna fucking don't just don't. Anyway, so we're gonna go on to the list now. My first example is sort of an odd example because it actually falls in the category of a hugely already popular franchise. It was a franchise of movies before, so you would think, oh, bankable star, bankable franchise. This fucking game is going to sell like hotcakes. But it doesn't. I'm, of course, talking about Electronic Arts From Russia with Love. Yeah, James Bond game. Everybody knows it. Everyone knows the movie. It came out in 2005 for the PS2, the Xbox, GameCube, and the PlayStation Portable. Who fucking... I wiped my ass with the PSP. It starred Sean Connery, who, I'll fucking get to that motherfucker in a second. But it's an adaptation of the second James Bond movie from 1963. But it's not really. You see, to adapt that into a core game, because 60 movies are sort of trash and it was just people talking and there were some action scenes, but whatever. They wanted to make it more cool and added things to make it more game-like that didn't show up until later Bond movies. So his cars, the fucking, the famous James Bond car, the Aston Martin, didn't show up until the next movie, but they put it in this one. Nice try, fucking Bond. And then there's a jetpack from Thunderball, which is two movies away, and you're gonna throw it in this. If I was a James Bond nut and I played this fucking game, I would already be zipping my pants back up, because I'm not dropping my drawers for this. You take a car from the next movie, take a jetpack from two movies ahead. Nah, the James Bond canon's all fucked up now. Yeah, it's the same decade, but Electronic Arts was sort of fucking cheating, and I don't like it. They actually added characters. I think they added women characters, and they changed the main villain. They changed his affiliation with Spectre. And nah, dude, you ain't getting away with that. It's weird. It's weird enough to be like, this is bullshit. Like, we're gonna change the canon of James Bond. But the other thing is, it starred Sean Connery. I'm not saying that he was just on the front and it was the poster for From Russia with Love. This motherfucker, who retired from movies, said, yeah, take my likeness, take my face, take my voice from the movie. I don't care, go ahead, that's cool, and that would be fine. But this motherfucking Scottish fucker who quit acting because of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yeah, I'm not even gonna explain that movie. That movie. It's watchable trash. I enjoy watching it. But this dude said he hated making movies after that movie, so he quit. All right. That's fine. I think that was like 2003. Whatever, dude. This game is 2005. Okay, so there's no, if anything, he recorded the dialogue like 2004. And it just really pisses me off because he recorded new dialogue. I should have fucking said that first. Sean Connery, this high and mighty Scottish motherfucker, was like, oh, give me some haggis and I'll fucking do it. Like, fuck you. You quit acting, you come back, you had a miserable experience, and you're a voice acting slut now. You're just gonna do it. Stick a bagpipe up over your ass. You're a voice acting slut. And this motherfucker actually had the balls to say, when they were making the game, people were interviewing him like, oh my god, Sean Connery, like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, oh, da, da. He actually had the balls to say, as an artist, I see this as another way to explore the creative process. Video games are an extremely popular form of entertainment today. It's 2005. They've been entertainment for fucking 20 years. Why didn't you sign up to do a voice in Mario, you fucking asshole? And this is a continuation, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all fits together. Fuck you fucking fuck off, Connery. You're great in movies, but the last great thing you did was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You were not great in this fucking movie. You're in this little booth recording dialogue. There's probably parts in the game where, you sound like 30s Sean Connery, then you sound like fucking deteriorating 90-year-old Sean Connery. And I'm gonna find that fucking audio and I'm gonna destroy you. Because I know you're still alive. Because you're banking on money from this game. So of course, it came out. It received mixed reviews. Good. And now it fits alongside other shitty James Bond games that came out after GoldenEye. Because, again, I'm going to say this. GoldenEye, only good movie, only good game. Fucking done, deal. I mean, Bond games, they're not exactly flying off the shelves. And if you recall from the previous episode, I said one of the Bond games actually came out on 9/11. Like, damn. So Sean Connery doing this is just basically as bad as 9/11 happening. So, it's just, yeah, I compared the two. And it's a made-up movie. That's why I'm saying it's a made-up movie. Yeah, it's from Russia with Love. But you're going to add shit in. Oh, you're going to add dialogue in. No, not on my watch. I'm with the Famicom. I'm going to call you out on your shit, Sean Connery. Everyone thinks you're a great actor. You're a piece of shit. And I'm sure the dialogue is terrible. Because, 2 years of not acting, you're fucked, dude. Anyway, Sean Connery really pisses me off. But our next made-up game form, I guess you can call it that, revolves around Uber, Superstar, King of Cinema, and of course I'm talking about Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, everyone knows him. It's the D's, the VD, I like to call him. Imagine this, picture this. The year is 2009, and this is before Vin Diesel kind of had his Fast and Furious renaissance. Fast and Furious 4 didn't come out yet, but I think they both actually came out in the same month of 2009. The game we're about to talk about in Fast and Furious 4. So that's kind of, he's doing pretty good. But they probably started making this game a while ago. But he was already killing it in the video game scene. Now he created, Chronicles of Riddick games. Everyone knows Chronicles of Riddick. Everyone knows Riddick, his sci-fi series. He created these motherfucking games. He created Xbox game, The Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. If you've never played this game, it's like a first-person stealth game. Fuck. Turn this off. No, actually, keep it playing so it counts as a listen. But go find that game somewhere. Like, it single-handedly has the best character in any fucking video game. And his name is Thunder. And he is in the prison in the beginning. You're in Butcher Bay, the prison. You're walking around, you're talking to convicts, you're talking to inmates. Walk up to this dude in the corner. It says Thunder. He just starts saying, I don't want any trouble. Go away. I shit you not. I think I actually tried finding that on YouTube. And I wasn't able to, but I can fucking vouch for it. I can vouch for Thunder. Like Thunder, I got your back, dude. But anyway, he says that. Vin Diesel knows a thing or two about video games, and he knows a thing or three about movies, so just combine them, right? It's gonna work out. It already worked out with a movie into a game. Why not try the reverse, right? What's the worst gonna happen? Fucking everything. Developed by his, I guess, game side company, Tygon Studios, which was a video game part of his production company, One Race Films. One Race Films kind of, was his umbrella of everything he wanted to do. 2009's Wheelman, that's right, it was called Wheelman, was released on the PS3, the Xbox 360, and Windows. Vin Diesel, the D's VD, played Milo Burick. I think he's a CIA agent in Barcelona. I don't really, he's undercover, so I'm not really, I don't know. It's open world, there's destructible environments, the plot is stupid, it's complicated, there's a lot going on. But get this, when the game was announced in 2006, so much confidence in the D's, even though the D's wasn't really fucking killing it in the box office, the film version was announced. The fucking film version of what? Assholes. Nobody cares about Milo? The movie, well, the game first was a joint production from Midway Games and MTV. So Midway, popular 90s video game company. And MTV was like, why were they fucking making games? Who the fuck knows? But, and the movie was going to be made by Paramount Pictures and MTV. Does the fucking V and MTV stand for Vin. Like, why, what the fuck's going on here? Anyway, it was going to be a sequel about, no, I think it was going to be a prequel about Milo's background. Who fucking wanted that? Nobody asked for it. Nobody asked for Vin Diesel to do anything. Just keep cranking out. Just go back to the Fast and Furious movies. 2006. You know, last one you ruined was the first one. I think that's when you made the cameo in 3. Yeah, I fucking remember that. Shit, that was a big deal. But, you know, just go be in a blockbuster movie, you fucking idiot. Nobody wanted that. So the Wheelman was just, if you've ever seen it or played it, it was just a shittier version of Driver. And nobody asked for that. I think they were still making Driver games. So don't, dude. Just don't. It was forgettable. It was as forgettable as Thunder from Butcher Bay. And that's a shame. Because people don't really remember or give credit to Thunder. The game didn't get great reviews at all. You know? The movie was shelved. And Vin Diesel lived happily ever after. You know, a weird side thing was that he tried to do this again. If you've ever read interviews of Vin Diesel, he's a fucking nutbag. Because he's obsessed with the conqueror Hannibal Barca, who was like a conqueror in like the BC era. So with his video game like subsidiary of One Race Films, he tried to make an MMORPG about Hannibal Barca and his army. And he was doing this at the same time he was trying to get the movie off the ground in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s, banking on that Triple X money. But it just never went anywhere. The game never happened. The movie never happened. But then he made another awesome Riddick game. So happy ending for everybody, except Milo. So you got 2 canceled movies, 1 canceled game, and 1 shitty game. Vin Diesel, you are not. You're just not. You're taking the cake right now. You're not doing good, dude. I mean, you're doing good now. You got that group money. But it's just, you know, I'm glad you went back to Fast and Furious. That's all I'm saying. Now, I have talked about Ronda Rousey. I've talked about Vin Diesel. And to perfectly tie up this Fast and Furious bow, our next game stars one of the biggest movie stars on the planet. Probably, and, you know, more than likely, one of People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive. I'm going to guess 2002? That was like peak, not too jacked Rock. But, I mean, I just spoiled it. It is The Rock. Dwayne Johnson, a.k.a. The Rock. You know, the king of cinema. I think that's what I call him. I don't know what anyone else calls him, but, you know, he is The Rock. Now, The Rock was already in the PS2 Mummy Returns game. He, you know, if anyone remembers Mummy Returns, the Scorpion King shows up, so he's the villain in that. So it sort of uses his face. Then in 2000, actually, flip that. That was 2001. 2002, he was in a Scorpion King game, because remember, motherfuckers, there was a Scorpion King movie, where he added his likeness and his voice, and he was like, I wanna get in on this video game. You know, these like, you know what? This came out on the GameCube. I'm feeling this. Then he was in the famous dud video game movie Doom. He was still, you know, he still had a raging video game boner, and it just wouldn't go down. So he decided, he's like, I want to be involved in a game, but also a huge blockbuster film. So the game I'm talking about is, some people might know this, because I think people probably own this more. The game I'm talking about is 2006's Spy Hunter: Nowhere to Run. It came out on the PS2, the Xbox, and the PC. It was released by Midway. But fuck, Midway, man, you're between this and Wheelman. What are you doing? Listen, I know you made Mortal Kombat 4, but you don't have to fucking do this, dude. But there he is. If you look up this game, Spy Hunter: Nowhere to Run, he's right there on the cover. That motherfucking, that rock face is hovering above a car, and it's the Spy Hunter car. You know, it looks like a movie poster for a movie that doesn't exist, and I hope fucking never does. It is based off the popular 80s arcade game Spy Hunter. Everybody kind of remembers that. It's an overhead vehicle combat game. The movie was supposed to be some like hip, gritty, but blockbustery retelling of the game, I think. Anyway, in the 80s arcade game, the Spy Hunter was named Alex Sect, and The Rock's name was Alex Decker for the movie? That's just a fucking stupid change. Rock, what are you doing? If you're already into video games, you should know just fucking. You already fucked up with changing shit in Doom. You know, you had leverage. Just be like, I'm gonna keep it. That. Sorry, that was the first time I ever impersonated The Rock, and that was really terrible. But anyway, his character Alex Decker, he was an agent for a secret espionage agency. It probably gets in the Spy Hunter car. It's on the cover. The cover of the game is probably going to be the poster for the movie. I'm going to be honest. They probably made the poster like, yo, this is it. This is going to do it. But who the fuck cared? Nobody cared. The game was supposed to be a tie-in to the movie, and the movie was going to be directed by, get this, video game movie perfectionist, Paul Anderson. Now, you're probably like, I don't really know who Paul Anderson is, but you do. Mortal Kombat, Resident Evil, and coming soon, Monster Hunter, for some fucking reason, because idiots want a Monster Hunter game? I don't know. But, somehow the film, thankfully, the fucking film, while the game was getting made, got stuck in what we call development hell. What I call, I'm part of Hollywood, so I say that. While they were making the game, so the likeness and the voice work for the game were already done. So they were like, shit, we can't get this movie off the ground. What are we going to do? But they released it. They released the game anyway. And it looks like it's supposed to be part of something. But it wasn't. And they just released the game, as just a standalone. So it probably makes references to the script of this fucking movie that doesn't exist, that no one cares about. So he probably says like, hey, don't forget what we did, Susie. And probably in the movie, him and Susie go on a date in the Spy Hunter car. But we'll never know. And I don't want to know. The graphics for this game, they look worse. If you last time you seen Mummy Returns, at the end, The Rock shows up as the Scorpion King, and it looks like garbage, looks like a dumpster fire. Well, it's worse than that. The graphics for this game are worse than that. I don't even think The Rock has teeth in the cutscenes, but somehow it looks worse. And listen, man, like I know The Rock and Vin Diesel have some like Fast and Furious beef, but right now, like, they can both bond, like, spiritually and physically over the fact that they're dead fucking movie games and shitty games that almost spawn them. So there's that. Like, they have something to really bond over, and that's more important than like movies about fast cars. As of today, The Rock is not associated with it. I think he's acknowledged it a few times, but it's just, it's a shame, but it's not, because you still gotta buy the name The Rock. So maybe you should just, don't put The Rock on movie posters. Don't sign people's autograph The Rock. And you were probably People's Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive another year. Dude, you can live off that. But again, there's that. Vin Diesel, get back together, dude. Make a Wheelman Spy Hunter crossover. It took me 2 seconds to solve both of your financial, gaming, backfired game problems. Right there. I am going to contact both of you and get you together. Not to make a Fast and Furious movie or game, but to be friends again. And that's all the fucking universe wants. The Rock and the D's just making something. You can make love. It's 2019. So for my final, for the cream of the crop, I needed the king of all games like this. I need a real special game to end this episode on. So perfectly Hollywood, but also so perfectly video gamed up his own ass. So much that it becomes this Frankenstein monster of something you want more of, but kind of want to look away, but don't. It's like going to a funeral. Like you don't want to look at the open casket. You don't want to see the person's face, but you can't help it. So what better, you just want to see something just go up in flames because of this fucking game. But what better actor to blame this all on than the man who watched Nakatomi Plaza go up in flames? I am, of course, talking about the king of the 90s, Bruce Willis, and his starring game, the 1998 PlayStation 1 game, Apocalypse. Now, I can't wait to talk about this. Developed by Neversoft, they would go on to make the fucking a million Tony Hawk games. A lot of them people didn't care about. And then they made the Guitar Hero games. Like, yeah, nobody fucking plays Guitar Hero anymore. I'll fucking say it. But 10 years ago, hot shit, man. 2006, you don't lie, you were fucking playing Guitar Hero. It was published by Activision. They signed a multi-million-dollar deal just to get Bruce Willis to even fucking look at their faces to get a meeting for this game. You would assume this would be a huge game, and people would definitely know this game. But you would think that it would be bigger, but you'll learn why. I'll give you a little summary of what Apocalypse is. It's a futuristic game. It's not really, it's like Mad Max meets Blade Runner, if you want to kind of look at it like that. But Apocalypse was about an evil scientist named the Reverend. Sure, why not? He uses his expertise as an evil scientist, I'm assuming, because that's what other expertise do you have? To create 4 powerful horsemen of the apocalypse. Now, if you don't know the horsemen of the apocalypse, they vary. They're fucking in Darksiders. They're different. They're different in this. It's war, plague, beast, and death. What are you doing? Come on. Beast isn't one. Beast is an X-Man. Okay? In order to make sure the apocalypse happens, that's what he did. He wanted to make sure the apocalypse happens because he's evil. Made these 4 horsemen. He's like, let's motherfucking do this. Hey, Beast, you're my boy. Now, his former colleague, Trey Kincaid, voiced by Bruce Willis, is the only man with the know-how to stop this motherfucker. But first, he has to escape from prison. He was, put in prison at maximum security prison. It was a dual shooter, so basically you can use the dual shock or the D-pad to control. But interestingly enough, I don't think this is the first game to do it, but it's pretty popular for this reason. Only on the PlayStation controller, the triangle, square, circle, X, those are used to the direction of the weapons. So that's really interesting. The buttons on the PlayStation controller controlled where you shot. That's cool. But here's the thing, like the plot that I just gave you, now what the game was supposed to be, that's not it. That's not what the fucking game was. You see, during the development of this game, Bruce Willis was supposed to be your sidekick. It was supposed to be like a futuristic buddy cop movie. Like Neversoft's employees were like, yeah, we love these lethal weapons and Last Boy Scout and shit. Like we want to make a movie where your sidekick is Bruce Willis. Like he's fucking shooting quips at you, and you were the one who was the savior at the end. To stop the end of the world. You were the colleague of the Reverend. But Neversoft and Activision were like, oh, shit. Why would someone not want to be Bruce Willis? Shit, we really fucked up. Why would somebody not want to play John McClane? We have Bruce Willis. We just signed $8 trillion to get him. Why are we going to sideline him? So, it was really stupid. The game started out like I said, a buddy cop movie, but Bruce Willis just recorded quips and responses to you. Like they map scanned his face, they did motion capture, they did all that shit just to get Bruce Willis, and he was like, yeah, take it, and then he left. He was done. He recorded these sidelines, and they were gonna throw in a main character. Well, guess what? They took the main character out, and all you got. They didn't realize that Trey Kincaid didn't have a lot of lines, so they were stuck in a conundrum of not having any additional voice lines for him, and Bruce Willis not wanting to come back and re-record. So Trey Kincaid says shit like he has like 6 full sentences in this game. Throughout the whole game, he's supposed to be the colleague of the Reverend. Nah, they don't tell you that. They probably tell you in the booklet. Nah, they don't tell you anywhere. He shouts out shit like, "Welcome to paradise. Here we go, Chief. Feel the burn, kid." Who the fuck is he talking to? This isn't a movie, but it was an action game equivalent of one that's supposed to try to be a buddy cop movie. Futuristic setting, end of the world, big star behind it, behind the scenes fuck ups. Like I said, Bruce Willis didn't want to come back to record anything. Because famously, I think he was like a dick in the 90s. 90s Bruce Willis. He was probably doing coke or going to like a Planet Hollywood opening. Whatever. Dude, I forgive him. I had tons of Planet Hollywood shirts. Like, I know you went to really famous ones, but I went to a Florida one, so I might have seen you. But I kind of think it's kind of great. I actually think the game is awesome. I love it. I think I don't care that this behind the scenes shit happened because it makes it more fun. I think it's awesome knowing that I kind of enjoy it more. It's weird, shitty, futuristic polygon setting, the uneven cutscenes with minimal bearings of a plot. The weapons are kind of fucking cool. That's a home run. That is a home run in my book. As a bonus, get this, there was a full-fledged soundtrack. As a bonus, the soundtrack had System of a Down, Snot, and Cyrus, to name a few. Now, Cyrus was like this electronic band that did not motion soundtracks. I don't know what a motion soundtrack is, but soundtracks to games. So they were Resident Evil Annihilation, the movie, Need for Speed, and this shitty game. So congratulations, Cyrus. All those bands got shot to superstardom. Obviously not. But it's just fucking crazy. I really enjoy that game. But these games just one of the bottom lines is video game movies shouldn't happen. We know that. I briefly talk about them every now and then. But games trying to be like movies so closely that they eventually blow the fuck up in everyone's faces are probably just as bad. And I don't know. All these games are shit. I'm sure Shaq Fu fucking sucks dick too. Who knows? I don't remember. And I think they made a sequel to Shaq Fu. And you're idiots because Shaq Fu probably sucked, and you convinced Shaq to be like, oh, I can make a new one. But that probably sucked too. If there is one takeaway from this episode, it is this. I am here to present you the takeaway. Just Ronda Rousey, just stay away from my games. Tell you and your fast family, just get the fuck away from just stay away. I'm sure you'll run into Bruce Willis at some point, but just stay away from my games. Stop. Celebrities, just stay away from my fucking games. That's pretty much it. Now, to end this episode, I like to, bring myself up. I like to bring myself up to the world, because these things I talk about, these really fucked up things that get my blood boiling. I like to be more positive. I unfortunately don't have any listener mail. I don't have a giveaway. But don't turn off the podcast. What I do have, I think, is just as special. Now, everyone knows the Konami code. Yes, you do. Gradius, Contra, Castlevania, Metal Gear Solid. You all know it by heart. It's, say it with me, up, up, down, down, left, right, BA. Now, the BA fluctuates what game you're playing. But it's the Konami code. I plan on naming my first kid Konami Code. His middle name will be Code, of course. But here's something I want to give you, the listener. I want to change it up. Instead of putting in the full Konami code, instead of doing the up, up, down, down, you still do the last parts, but get this. Try this. Instead of doing the up, up, down, down, take whatever controller you're using, stick it in your mouth, use your tongue to twirl counterclockwise around it. You can press the buttons with your tongue too. It has to be counterclockwise. Do it for 30 seconds and see what happens. You're in for the biggest gaming Easter egg of probably all time. It's the biggest gaming secret. Weirdly enough, I got this off the gaming dark web. Something I don't want to talk about. But you know how I feel about the gaming dark web. If you don't, go back and listen to that one, because that's a fucked up episode. But anyway, that is my gift to you for reaching episode 6. And episode 7 is a treat. But episode 6 was something special. Episode 6 was something that I really wanted to dissect. I wanted to know why these fucking celebrities were taking games away from me. Hey, Vin Diesel, go back to your fast cars. Hey, Rock, go back to your Jumanjis. Hey, Britney Spears, go back to your GameCube Advance games. Get the fuck out of my face. So that is all for episode 6 of What the Famicom podcast. If, I appreciate the feedback in any way, shape, or form, even if you want to throw shit at me, or controllers. Ooh, if you want to throw controllers or something, I need a cord for a PS2 and want to throw some cords at me, just, send them. But if you want to find me on social media, it is at WT Famicom on Instagram and Twitter. Again, I appreciate any kind of feedback. I'm glad you listened. I appreciate you listening. And again, episode 7 is going to be a real treat. So as always, have a good night, have a good evening, and wherever you are, you have a good morning. As always, game over.
What the Famicom? was the Famicom? What was the Famicom?